Since quitting our corporate jobs last year, we've had the opportunity to experience some amazing things all around the world. But now we're back in the UK and about to embark on one of our most challenging trips yet.
We're setting off on an 8-day, 100-mile adventure along the southwest coast path. Join us as we experience this rugged and breathtaking hike, where we promise we will share the good, the bad and the ugly.
The South West Coast Path is England's longest national trail and runs 630 miles, taking in the stunning coastlines of Somerset, Devon, Cornwall and all the way round to Dorset. A few years ago, Rachel and I took on a section of this trail, starting in Padstow, walking round to Penzance, and we really got the bug for it. So this year, we're taking on another section, starting here at the official starting point here in Minehead, all the way along 100 miles of the trail along to Clovelly. Today, we're going to be easing ourselves in gently with a short 9-mile hike west along the coast to a place called Porlock.
We've made it, the very first ascent of our challenge. So pretty much as soon as we left Minehead, we started the climb up North Hill. And at the top, we are certainly rewarded with some absolutely spectacular views already. So 6 miles in, we found ourselves a beautiful spot for lunch, so we're fueled up, but we've come across our first decision of the day.
Yes, so this is a point where the trail splits in two. There is one pathway that takes you a little bit more inland, and that takes you a little bit more into Exmoor Park, so perhaps a chance to see those famous ponies. But there is also a path that hugs the coastline a little bit more. We've done our research. That one is a little bit more rugged, and that's the one we're fancying today. It's a beautiful day, so we're going to take that one on.
The path has led us down to Bosington Beach, and it is definitely a bit windy, but the sun's still shining. So we're going to take a stroll along, and we can just see Porlock up there in the distance. So that is the walking for day one complete, and we have arrived in Porlock, a lovely quaint village, and the first thing that we've done is found ourselves a beer garden.
Beautiful little beer garden. So today's stats, Rachel, let me just get it up. So she said 4.5 hours, so 4 hours 30, 18 seconds. So just over 4.5 hours, 9.88 miles. So not a huge distance covered on the first day.
No.
And one thing that we did say when we were on the walk, we said that we would try to describe the walk in each section by just using one word. So Rachel.
And we haven't shared these with each other yet either,
We
have we?
haven't.
So hopefully we haven't come up with the same word, or maybe we have.
Yeah. What's yours?
My word for today is leisurely. So as Ian said, it was only kind of 4.5 hours. We had a lovely long lunch break in the middle of that. There wasn't too many ups and downs. My legs are still feeling fresh. So I don't know how many times, again, on this walk, we're going to be able to use the word leisurely. So I'm going with it today.
A huge amount. No, good word. Mine, I think I'm going to go for introductory. And only because I think it was a good introduction to the walk. As you say, it was pretty relaxed. I think we're going to have far more difficult days, but I'm pretty glad we've done a shorter, more relaxed walk on the first day.
Yeah, and it gave us an introduction to the lovely path and the coastal views that we're going to be seeing today. I like it. So, day one.
Day one complete. Cheers, son.
The boots are going on again. And they're new boots, actually. I was having trouble with my previous ones, just rubbing the side of my ankle. So a couple of weeks ago, we both invested in a new pair. These ones are the Hoka Kaha 3s. and they came with really good reviews. We only had the chance to wear them in kind of a couple of times at home doing flat walks, so this is their real test. And yesterday they were good, so far so good, and let's hope that that continues.
So, start of day 2, we are back down to the Pebble Beach to start our walk, and today we have got 12 miles ahead of us. We're making our way across to Porlock Weir, up back onto the cliff tops, and we're making our way across to Lynmouth. And oh my God, we have got a beautiful day for it today.
Come on then, Ian, show us what you've got. Oh, that was a plop, not a skim.
Hey, come on. One more go. Oh, banana. Oh. Rubbish.
So these new boots are definitely being put to the test today. That was the second stream crossing of the day. A whole load of mud back in the fields near Porlock, and so far, feet are still dry.
So that's us, just got through the forest clearing. Today has been so far almost entirely in the forest, hasn't it? So it's been very shady, and we've come up to an opening, so we're grabbing some lunch. That's 4 hours in and 8.5 miles, so just over 8.5 miles. And what an unbelievable spot we have for our lunch today.
It's worth the wait.
Look at that. Absolutely incredible.
Two things. Firstly, we have crossed the border from Somerset and we are now in Devon. And also, I don't know whether Ian is going to be able to pick it up on camera, but we have just come across the biggest group of wild horses that we've seen yet. This is definitely something that you don't see at home in Essex.
Brilliant. So that's us having arrived in Lynmouth, and we could not have landed more on our feet with the location of this hotel. Beautiful little garden to sit out and have a drink.
Found the only sunny spot.
Yeah, we found the only sunny spot in Lynmouth. So today, Rachel, the walk was 5 hours, 59 minutes and 3 seconds. So
6 hours.
We'll say 6 hours, yeah. And 13.87 miles. So slightly longer than the 12 miles we'd originally anticipated, but that was because we were starting a little bit backwards at Porlock and not Porlock Weir, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So all that's left to do for today is word to describe the walk. So what's your word for today?
It has got to be wooded. So we spent, as Ian said earlier, I'd say 80% of our time today coming through the lovely trees. We had the protection because it's such a sunny day today.
Yeah.
So that was probably good for us. But it was absolutely beautiful and entirely different from yesterday.
Yeah, good word. I would go for unexpected because we've walked quite a bit on this southwest coast and never have we walked through so much woodland.
For so long.
Yeah, so my word of the day, unexpected. Yours, woody.
Woody, woodland.
It was
variation on that.
It was an unexpectedly woody walk today.
So, cheers to day 2.
Cheers to day 2, darling.
It's becoming a theme, this pint after the walk.
I like it.
Well, we have woken up to an absolute scorcher this morning, so the caps are at the ready, the factor 50 is on. It is a bit earlier this morning, just coming up to 9 o'clock, because we've got a 14-mile walk ahead of us today to Combe. We're going to be starting with a quick detour, a tiny bit inland up to a village called Lynmouth, because we need to pick up a packed lunch. Similar to yesterday and the day before, actually, there is absolutely nowhere to grab snacks and drinks on the way. We're going to go and grab our packed lunch and then we'll be on our way.
This part of the walk so far has been no joke. Definitely the most hilly we've come across so far. And we can see that there are more hills in the distance, so this could be a tough day. I don't know about you, Rachel, but this is probably the first part of this walk that I've actually found not fun. I mean, it is a boiling hot day and these hills are really taking out my legs.
Yep, I've got to agree. I've got some words springing into my head already, ready for later. Relentless, challenging, hungry, sweaty. That'll do for now. So it's about an hour since we last picked up the camera and we're sitting down, having a relax, looking out to the ocean, nice coastal breeze in our faces and all is good again. Yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, well, we've stopped for some lunch and I have got a huge baguette, so I'm exceptionally happy. Tandoori chicken baguette.
Yeah, I've got a whole little collection, little picnic going on here, crisps, chocolate, nuts, seeds, tuna.
Yeah, definitely a good refueling stop, and actually it's a good opportunity for me.
No one wants to see a stinky feet.
To air the bad boys, air the feet. And that actually got me thinking, right, Rachel mentioned the other day, the Hoka Freeze, bought those boots, they are fantastic, really, really good. But something as well, just worth mentioning, these socks we bought from Darn Tough. They're a merino wool blend and they are incredible, aren't they? So I've been wearing these for 3 days, and any socks that I'll be wearing for 3 days.
Not that stinky.
Any socks, they'd be radioactive by now, whereas actually they smell brand new, they keep the moisture off your feet, they're really, really good investment for this walk, and so I'm sure they wouldn't care whether or not we mention them or not, but actually we're so impressed with them. I will just whack a link in the description where you can get a pair of these. Definitely recommend. We've made it to Combe. Looks fantastic.
So that was a tough old day. And we even prioritised getting to our accommodation and grabbing a shower before the beer garden today.
Well, that's probably because we would have been offensive to anyone had we got to that beer garden without having had a shower. But we are going to go out and head into Combe for a drink. And Combe, for me, holds a little bit of nostalgia as well. So back in the day, and I'm talking 30 years ago, me, my mum, my dad and my brother, we holidayed down here a couple of times actually, and we had amazing times down here. So I'm really looking forward to getting down there, having a look. Hopefully it hasn't changed.
You've already spotted the caravan park that you stayed in actually on the way in.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully it hasn't changed too much. I can take a few photos to send back to the fam.
So what about the stats for today then?
Okay, so today's stats. We walked in total 14.83 miles, taking a total time of 6 hours, 29 minutes and 31 seconds. So that makes it our longest walk so far.
Plus the additional 1 mile from the centre of the village up to our accommodation.
That's true. I did.
We can add that on for tomorrow morning.
And I did switch off. Yeah, I did switch off the watch when we got to Combe. So yes, that additional mile was a tough one back up the hill.
So should we go for the word of the day?
Yeah, let's go word of the day. So you kick us off, darling.
So I have swiftly forgotten all of those words that I mentioned earlier, and I am going to go with stunning, because for me it was the most varied landscape that we've walked through. It was all so beautiful, from the rolling hills to the sparkling blue sea, all of those dramatic rock formations. It was absolutely stunning the whole way along.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's certainly not what I was expecting you to say. Certainly, look, of course, it's stunning. It's the Southwest Coast. I completely agree. I think my word of today would be hilly. I mean, today was, without a shadow of a doubt, the hilliest day that we've had. And we had to get up some really steep ones today. So, and I think, look, it was super hot as well. It definitely took it out of us a bit. So my word of the day is hilly, but I also completely agree with you that it was a stunning, stunning walk.
And so, shall we go and grab those beers?
Let's go and grab a beer. So day 4, and that's us leaving at Combe, having stayed in the best B&B that we have stayed in so far, Lion House here in Combe. That is a definite recommendation. Another recommendation from us. Now you will have noticed, no doubt, that we are carrying very little kit indeed. And that is because we are using the services of luggagetransfers.co.uk. Now we used these guys last time we did the Southwest Coast Path, and again, they have been amazing. Super flexible, reliable, and their prices are great value for money. So a huge recommendation from us, super easy to use. You simply tell them where you're going to be on each day. You sort that out all in advance. Each morning, you bring your suitcases down to your hotel B&B reception, you leave, and it's like magic. They are at your accommodation when you get there. So it's absolutely great and makes the walk so, so much easier. So today, it's a 15-mile walk ahead of us, off to Woolacombe.
So about 4 or 5 miles into our walk, and we have come across the town of Ilfracombe. And this is a bit of a novelty for us. As we were saying yesterday, this is the very first time that we've come across any sort of village or town between our start and end destinations. So it looks really picturesque. We're going to have a bit of an explore and pick up some supplies for the afternoon. We really hope that you're enjoying the video, and if you are, then it would be so helpful for us if you could give it a like. We've also been jotting down loads of tips on things that have worked out really well for us, as well as those things that maybe haven't worked so well and we would do differently if we were to do the walk again. So we're going to be filming another video as soon as we get home. If you would like to see that one, then please subscribe to our channel to see that one drop into your feed in a couple of weeks' time. We've just seen a seal. We've just gone past Bull's Head and we were told to look out, and we have been. And we're definitely sure. We've just been seeing it swimming along, bobbing up and down, so we're going to keep our eye out now, find its friends. We've just turned the corner and got our very first sighting of Woolacombe. It looks like it's about a 10-15 minute stroll away, so what we have learned from the last few days is that probably means we'll be arriving in about an hour to an hour and a half. We've arrived at Woolacombe and we're staying for the very first time in an Airbnb. We've been staying in rooms above pubs previously, and our luggage has yet again found us, even though this place is tucked down a little side street. It's even called the Hideaway.
Yes, but we would have expected that, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
They have been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. So what were the stats for today?
So today's walk was, in total time, 7 hours, 19 minutes, and 50 seconds.
Okay.
So we did have a little bit of time in Ilfracombe where we popped up into the
about
village
half an
or up
hour.
into the town and got ourselves some lunch, didn't we? So that's probably explains why it's a little bit longer. The distance, 16.70 miles.
Our longest yet.
Longest yet. So we've been progressively getting further and further, haven't we?
Yeah.
So, a brilliant walk today. What would your word of the day be for the walk?
I was struggling with today, and I don't think this is a very good descriptive word, but I'm going to go with it anyway, and it is people. And that is because it was so different today in terms of we walked through so many interesting places.
Yep.
So a couple of campsites, a couple of little hamlets, obviously Ilfracombe,
Yep.
like a boat shipyard.
Yeah.
We walked past that castle that's being turned into some sort of tourist
Yeah. There was a
place,
lot more.
and there was just loads
on.
more people on the track, which was quite nice for a change.
Yeah, I think mine probably goes along those themes, and I would say variety. So today we had a variety of terrains. There was a bit of up and down, but not as much as yesterday. There was a variety in weather. It was hot, it was cold. We even got a few showers, so a bit of variety in weather. Yeah, and a variety of things to see. So yeah, as you say, there was a lot more to see on this part of the walk. So my word of today would be variety.
Well, we have woken up this morning feeling very refreshed after our rest day and ready to hit the trail again. It is the cloudiest day that it's been so far. There are some very moody clouds around, so we've got our rain jackets at the ready. And if we manage to make it the 18 miles to Braunton without getting too wet and without those legs getting too tired, then that will definitely be a win for the day.
First sign of a little blister. My two toes are rubbing together, so I'm going to get a plaster on it and hope I've caught it good and early. Cool. That should have sorted it, I think. Should have sorted it. We've stopped for lunch here at the beautiful Braunton Burrows, which is the largest collection of sand dunes here in the UK. And it certainly feels like it. We've been walking through it for what feels like ages, but it was the perfect spot for some lunch. And we are now 13.5 miles into our walk, which means that we've only got about 2.5 miles left, which hopefully means a fairly casual stroll into the town of Braunton. So the last part of the walk was simple, and we arrived at our Airbnb within about an hour or so of having lunch. So a really nice, chilled way to finish the walk.
Yeah, and we didn't end up getting too wet at all today in the end.
No.
It did rain probably the first couple of hours, but it was quite light, and then it cleared up.
It wasn't as bad as it could have been, was it?
So what were the stats for the day?
Oh, so today's stats. The total walking time of 6 hours, 13 minutes and 54 seconds, with a total distance of 16 miles
Wow.
and 16.52 miles.
It doesn't feel like that long.
No, it really didn't feel like that long, did it? So it definitely helped that there was nowhere near as much
flatter.
undulation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so much a flat walk. Okay, so word to describe today's walk.
Well, it's not flat actually, but it could have been. My word is sandy. So we started off at obviously the lovely beach at Woolacombe.
Yes.
And then we passed another lovely little bay, didn't we, before getting to Saunton Sands?
Yeah, Saunton Sands,
Which it was a Sunday, but it was so busy. Loads and loads of surfers. And it
was
seemed
huge,
like lots
wasn't
of
it?
different kind of sporting competitions going
Yeah,
down the
it was
beach.
amazing as well.
Football, volleyball.
It's one of those places that does remind you these beaches exist in the UK.
Yeah, it felt like we were in Australia.
If you were in Australia, we would have been waxing lyrical about that beach, wouldn't we? It was
yeah.
absolutely beautiful.
And it wasn't even a sunny day.
No.
So well used.
The opposite, yeah.
And then on to Braunton Burrows, which is the sand dunes. So, yeah, sandy is my word.
That's a good word for today. Okay, I would go for, looking outside for inspiration, breezy. So, yeah, it was definitely a bit windier than we've experienced.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna double meaning this word because it was also a breezy walk.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, so breezy easy.
Have you just thought of that?
I just thought of that,
Okay.
honestly. Yeah. Good morning. So after an easy stay in Braunton, we have got a day of distance ahead of us today. So we are heading all the way around to a place called Appledore. Now that's not the recommended stop. It actually recommends you stop in Instow, but we couldn't find any accommodation there, so we have to add on the extra mileage. That's a little bit frustrating because when we were at Braunton Burrows yesterday, we could literally see across the water to Appledore, and it looked as if it was a relatively short swim, but it turns out it's a relatively long walk, so I think about 20 miles ahead of us today. But it's actually going to be mainly along the River Tor. We're heading down to Barnstable, crossing the river and coming back on ourselves. So it's going to be a bit of a different day in terms of scenery. So looking forward to seeing that as a bit of a change.
So this is us 12 miles into our day, and we've arrived in the quaint little village of Instow. It looks like it would be the perfect place if you were looking for an overnight stop. We've just sat down, had our picnic lunch, but we've already walked past a couple of pubs and cafes which look like they serve some great food. Now, we can see all the way across the estuary to Appledore, and actually we just walked past a sign that said that they offer a kind of rowing boat service that would take us all the way over there. It was tempting, but we've decided not to cheat, so we're going to get on with the rest of our 8 miles up and down the estuary. What have you gone for?
Getting that much needed caffeine kick for the next part of the walk. So there we have it, completed our longest day of walking, and we've got here to Appledore in good time to sit out in the beer garden and enjoy a post-walk drink. So today's stats, the total walking time was 6 hours, 26 minutes and 39 seconds.
Not the longest walking time then?
No, not the longest walking time, and a total distance of 18.32 miles.
Yeah,
so that
okay.
does make it the longest walking day, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
But probably not as long as we were expecting.
No, so my word of the day today is mundane, and that probably is going to come across more negative than I want it to be, because it was still a lovely walk, but by mundane I mean that the scenery was very much the same throughout.
It was,
because it
wasn't
was
it?
down
Yeah.
an estuary, and the terrain was very much the same throughout, kind of flat tarmac most of the way, which is very similar to the kind of walks that we can enjoy back in Colchester when we're from. So enjoyable, but not what I've come to experience on the southwest coast.
No, I agree. I think mine's going to be straightforward. So along the same lines. So we thought it was going to be a long day. It was a long walking day. Thought it was going to be flat. It was flat. We didn't think there was going to be a huge amount to see. And apart from Instow, there wasn't a huge amount to see. So I would say a straightforward day. But yeah, agree. Not what we came all the way down to the southwest coast part for.
But we have just checked into what looks like a lovely accommodation, the Seagate, right down on the waterfront. It's a room above a pub, so we're now sitting in the pub. The food that is coming out looks delicious, so we're going to stay here to eat, and hopefully it's as good as it looks. But cheers.
Cheers, Tom. So it's the final morning and our last walking day ahead of us. Now, both of us have had to put the Combe blister plasters on because our feet have taken an absolute pounding over the last 6 or 7 days. I think we're at about 200,000 steps, so I guess that's no real surprise. Today we've got 16 miles ahead of us. From here in Appledore, we're making our way over to Clovelly, and this part of the walk is back onto the cliff tops, so we're looking forward to getting back to the scenery that the southwest coast is so well known for.
So we are 5 miles in and we have hit Westward Ho. It has been a really wet and windy walk so far. Westward Ho looks like it could have a really cool surfer vibe, but I just don't think we're seeing it in its best light today. It has been a flat walk so far, but looking at the hills ahead, I think things are about to change for us.
So this morning, I think I might have been being a bit too optimistic when I said, let's get out there and see some more of those coastal views, because the weather hasn't really played ball. And to be honest, we haven't had a huge amount of coastal views today. It's been mainly through forest, which has been really nice. But today, after that rain, it has been a little bit muddy. But now that we're towards the end of the walk, we can finally see some of those views, and we can actually see down to our final destination. Clovelly is just down there. Now, usually, if you can see it, that doesn't necessarily mean it's too close, but it doesn't look too far away, and we're looking forward to a nice meander to finish off our southwest coast walk.
We've made it, our final destination, Clovelly.
Hey, well done.
So what were the final stats?
The stats from our final walk, my darling, were 6 hours, 58 minutes and 7 seconds, in which we walked 17.36 miles. So
quite a big day to end with.
Quite a big day, yes, absolutely, quite a big day to end with.
So that leads us into the final words of the day, and mine is rewarding. So it did feel like a challenge today. It was a bit of a slog at times. It was windy, rainy, not great views because we were in the clouds, but then every time you did get a glimpse of the views, or we passed a couple of gorgeous little hamlets where we had lunch, and now we've arrived in the quaint village of Clovelly, which, just walking down those cobblestone streets, seeing all of the old buildings,
Yeah, it does seem beautiful,
looking
doesn't it?
out to the water, it's absolutely gorgeous and so rewarding.
Yeah, good word. Mine, I think, is going to be challenging. So that was a more challenging walk for me today because, well, firstly, the weather wasn't
Blisters.
great, but secondly, the feet are starting to hurt a bit. So it was definitely just making it that little bit more uncomfortable and going up, because it was so up and down. Do you know what? I was finding the up bits absolutely fine. It was downs, because it's on the bottom of my big toe. The blisters have started to really form. So challenging, but as you say, incredibly rewarding.
Yeah, so the path overall, I have absolutely loved it. And I'm so glad that we decided to come along and do this very first section.
Yeah, me too. And we hope that you've enjoyed watching this experience, and perhaps it's given you the inspiration to come down to the Southwest Coast Path for yourselves. Now, if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to drop it a like and subscribe to our channel for more of our travel adventures from around the world. And I'm sure, Rachel, that will include some more hiking.
It definitely will. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.